Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Music with Afridi. Today I want to talk about pretty much the first rapper I was ever interested in, and that's Eminem. So I used to hear his music a little bit back when we were kids, like when Recovery came out, there was Love the Way You Lie and Not Afraid, like being played everywhere. So it's like we were kids who had no idea about any of the things in the songs and just listening to his lyrics about like abusive relationships and recovery from drug addiction. But yeah, it didn't like I didn't explore him further beyond that. And shortly afterwards, I like got into metal and I got so far into it that when MMLP 2 came out and everyone was like talking about Rap God, I was like, no, I'm not gonna listen to that. But what happened is around my first year of college, I was like with this girl who knew that I'm really into music. So she told me like her whole story of getting into Eminem and stuff. And I just thought, you know, in order to like feel what uh, she felt like, in order to explore something that meant a lot to her, I should just give Eminem a chance. So I'm not sure which of these two things happened first, but I believe I played a video. I finally listened to Rap God, okay, and um, that fast part of his just blew my mind that someone could say something that fast and it could make sense. So yeah, that was cool. I was hooked onto that song for a long time, and I even used to like rap that part out. But then I think she told me to start. She started sending me his older stuff because she knew the kind of musical background I came from, which is I'm more into like aggressive stuff, and of course his early material is really dark. So yeah, it was perfect for me. So she just said, listen to like so she actually used to send me a lot of stuff from MMLP initially, but I don't know why. For many years, I had this belief that, um, or rather, I think it was that I wanted to explore his stuff from the very beginning. Okay. What I was gonna say is that as a kid, I had this stupid thing that artists usually grow with every album they put out. So their early stuff usually isn't worth listening to because it's before they had discovered how to make good music and shit. It's because of stuff like that I missed out on exploring bands like Linkin Park earlier than I actually did. Um, so yeah, anyway, I play the Slim Shady LP and my name is comes on and it just gets me so hyped, it's like my name is it just keeps uh upping like rising in tempo and I I just got so pumped, like I loved the beat and how he just keeps going and then of course okay like this I didn't really explore the that album in depth until I actually got into Eminem a year later. But my God, what an album! It's really easy to get lost in your feelings for that album because it doesn't just have his obscene stuff. Like, sure, it definitely has him being slim, going and doing crazy stuff, which is like entertaining and funny to listen to. But he's also got songs like If I Had and Rock Bottom and Brain Damage, where like Brain Damage is about it's this amazing story. his storytelling ability is what makes him one of my favorites. I mean, of course, Kendrick and Cole also really do a great job of that. But you just listen to this guy while, like, let's say you're on the bus or something, and he takes you into a whole different world, where, for example, in Brain Damage, it's about him getting bullied by, he's like a scrawny kid, and he gets bullied by like this tough, beefy other white guy who like used to call him like so the white racist insult is, I guess, honky. So he called him that, and he was gonna beat him up after school because just for no reason, honestly. And he tried to fake injury with the nurse, but the nurse didn't fall for his tricks, and she just let him get beaten up. So that so he does, and then he goes to his mom, and then the next day he plots his revenge against the bully. uh, I don't know what he does. I guess he traps him in the locker or something. And that's just such an awesome story, of how the bullied kid got revenge on the bully. And then, of course, If I Had and Rock Bottom are all about his struggles with, like, not having enough money, not getting recognized for his talent in rap. He had a pretty late breakthrough in fame, right? So I am sure, like, I mean, by the time he released his first album, a lot of other rappers who also blew up would have already blown up years ago, and now they're releasing like their third album or something. So I'm sure, like, that's what it was about, his struggles of watching other people come up while he was still waiting for his breakthrough. And actually, Rock Bottom is about when he'd given up. It's about when he'd met this fake producer. Like, he didn't know, obviously he didn't know the guy was fake, but the guy promised M a record deal and everything, and M was so excited about it. But then he found out the guy was fake, and everything just came crashing down. So actually he attempted suicide the night that he wrote Rock Bottom. And yeah, that's how that song was born. I know this stuff because I actually was reading a little bit of his autobiography, The Way I Am. It's really interesting. I mean, I should finish it. It goes really into the depths of his life. Um, Around like my 12th grade, I developed this fascination for finding autobiographies of musicians I looked up to and reading about their lives. Because to me, it's more than just the music for me. I like knowing about where these people came from. Um, you don't realize, I guess, or I mean, of course, artists do know this, but as fans, normally we don't just like them for the music they make, we like them for the people they are, because they're sharing their art with us, right? So that's like, uh, I don't know, you kind of bond over that piece of them being shared with you. So uh, it's really hard to continue liking a person's music once you no longer like them as a person. I mean, separating art from the artist is one thing, but that's not always easy to do. So anyway, um, I guess my favorite album by M though would have to be the Eminem Show, because even though like MMLP, getting into it was fun and I actually liked it a lot for okay, yeah, the nostalgia, because first year was a good time and shit, and she was sending me um songs from that album to get into. Okay, so I just remember not having a clue, and she would send me, like, it was actually my end sem time, and I would be studying late at night, and she would send me stuff like Stan, which I'm like, okay, cool. and I'm listening to it. I'm like, okay, that's a great story. But I still had no idea. I was not used to M's shock factor. Like he likes to write things that scare the shit out of you. So I reached the part where he kidnapped her, and she's in his trunk, and you can hear the muffled screaming. And I was just like, what? Because I was living in a hostel which was near the forest, like outside the window. The only thing you could see is like miles and miles of trees. So hearing that in such an environment in the middle of the night of someone being kidnapped and driven off a bridge and then murdered, it just it scared the crap out of me. Then she's like, you know what, let's listen to Kim. Okay. And what the fuck was that? I mean, I still, and I'm pretty sure my friends who are also Eminem fans still kind of need to be emotionally prepared every time they listen to that song, because it's not just about uh, it's not just about murder. Like, I mean, clearly the plot of the song revolves around M um, driving her off to like go kill her, but there's this intense moments of heartbreak where M details in such, I mean, narrates in such detail what a person goes through when they've been cheated on. Like, um, I thought you loved me. Is it because I'm not good enough? How could you choose that person and do all the things you did with them while still being with me? It's so painful. I mean, even if you've never experienced being cheated on, he, like I said, he has a way of sucking you into his world, right? So that just really got to me. And yeah, so that fucked me up. But in the year after that, I kind of used to just listen to MMLP again, just to rediscover the nostalgia of, like, the emotions of being that naive kid listening to all this stuff for the first time. But yeah, to be honest, that summer when she introduced me to that stuff, I kind of didn't really get into him seriously. Like, it was kind of just something you do for someone in the honeymoon phase where you share their stuff with them. Because she sent me a lot of stuff from the Eminem show that summer, um, which I kind of just casually listened to maybe like a minute and stopped. And that ended up being my favorite album. But at that time, I didn't really care. Actually, when I seriously got into Eminem is a year later. It's 2018, and okay, I just heard that M's put out Kamikaze and it's fire, and apparently his last album was shit, and I didn't care. I was like, my friends were sharing it in their stories that, oh, Kamikaze fire. I was like, again, I was just like 16-year-old me watching everyone listening to Rap God, not giving a shit. Then I guess my I got intrigued when I heard that M's, yeah, I got super excited that M's beefing with MGK, and there's an anticipated response to a diss track MGK made against him. So in anticipation of it, I kind of just started listening to the Slim Shady LP again and going back to those days. And actually, one night, just as I was doing that, I guess I was watching the "Without Me" music video. I just I opened up Instagram, and Eminem's page says "Kill Shot," like now available on streaming services, and I heard it, and like, okay, obviously those who have heard M's 2000s dissing, like when he was fighting with Benzino and who is it, Ja Rule, the absolute diamonds that he put out in that time cannot be compared to Kill Shot. But still, I actually didn't know about the existence of those songs back then. So listening to him, 2018 him, still, he's still pretty good, right? Like just staring uh, MGK out. He dissected that entire music video MGK made for his diss track. Like, why are you eating that bowl of cereal all the time? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. But so I was like, okay. I was just interested again, and yeah, first I rediscovered all my old favorites. Then I started revisiting the Eminem show from cleaning out my closet. And like I said, uh, I love it because it is most mature release ever. I mean, I don't know if I can say ever, but if you consider M as two different people before relapse and after relapse, and in the before relapse phase, obviously it's his best work because he isn't just trying to offend people. He wanted to. Okay, there's a lot of flexing going on in the Eminem show. As someone rightly said on Reddit, it's basically his victory lap. Like he knows he's on top now. So, um, a lot of his songs, like for example, Soldier and Till I Collapse, they're kind of just him saying he's the best, but he says it in such a cool way, like those lines of confidence which he says that with, it kind of feeds off on you. Like he exudes power in that album. Like if you just look at the cover, he's sitting so maturely, like in this thoughtful pose, and you just it just carries on to you, and it was a great album for me. No, I mean, like, not just for it's a popular workout album, sure, but it's a great one to just boost your self confidence. Like, I don't know why, but I kind of just felt like if he could come up from nothing and rise to this like absolute position of dominance over an industry where he's a complete outsider. Like, you know uh he was a white rapper in a black dominated industry, and I really love that about him. Like he never gave a crap about skin color. For him it's like he, I just I don't feel any different from these people. And I guess he identified more with that community because that's where all his close friends were. And a black person gave him his first big break. So I don't know, I just really like that about him, that he never even considered himself to be an outsider. And I think that's what, like, he knew that okay, people are going to see this way, but that's not how I see this way. uh so yeah, I just really like that. But yeah, mature in the sense that it talks about his issues in greater depth. Like, rather than just insulting his mother, he's going in and talking about how why he hates his mother, the kind of relationship they had. Like in cleaning out my closet, it's like it talks about how she neglected him, or rather even abused him as a child. And you just feel this deep pain for the guy, because look, everyone just wants to be loved by their mothers, right? By their mothers and fathers. And that's what messes us up when it doesn't happen. Because people who have bad relationships with their parents, they are sad because they have a bad relationship. Like, we are just programmed to love them and want to be loved by them. So when we don't get it back, it messes us up. So to see Eminem so deeply affected by not getting that love back, to the point where he's talking about murdering the same woman who gave birth to him, it just really gets you. And he also got quite political in this album with white America, and talking about how he probably got so much attention because of being white in the industry. And he also really dissected the fact that everyone's always on his back about like his lyrical content, and the way he says it, like everyone just examining, it's like a microscope on a fine tooth comb, something like that. Like his wordplay and his frustration and his flow and his energy. It's just really cool to see him just take apart all his critics like that. Like he did it in a mature way. Um, I guess basically, if you took The Way I Am from MMLP, he basically made an album out of The Way I Am, if you think about it. Then there's Sing for the Moment, and there's no way you don't cry to that. Like the whole song's building up, but then when he comes to that's why we sing for these kids who don't have a thing except for a dream and a fucking rap magazine. Who I'm not gonna like, yeah, it hit me a lot. Like I used to, I don't even try. I just start tearing up whenever I hear that, because yeah, I am one of those. I have been and am and maybe always will be one of those people who looks to music as something to escape from reality, and like, yeah, I mean, I guess he's talking about kids who don't just use music as an escape. They kind of want to make their own music someday. And yeah, definitely, I also do. But I know I'm also realistic. I know that's not going to happen. So I just enjoy other people's music. But well, that dream and a fucking rap magazine line could also mean like not just dreams of being a rapper someday. It could also mean dreams of your own, and a magazine just full of your favorite artists to kind of take away from the pains of life that you're currently facing. You distract yourself from your life by getting sucked into theirs. And the yeah, that line, who post pin up pictures of their favorite artists all day long and know all their songs or something. Like, yeah, that's me, man. Like, uh, for example, in my room, I have a poster of like Megadeth and stuff. And the reason I put that up like some 4 or 5 years ago is as a reminder whenever I'm facing tough stuff, something difficult, to look at them and remember how they were the band that got me through a lot of tough things before, and kind of let myself know that if I made it through that, then I can make it through this. So yeah, it's just that line just really moved me, because yeah, for me it always has been that music was there for me when nothing or no one else was. So yeah, it made him my hero. And yeah, of course, it's got stuff like Superman, where you feel for whatever reason you feel like jaded about, let's say things aren't going right with a girl or whatever, and you just listen to that and you're like, yeah, fuck it, I don't need any damn girl, I'll be fine, all that shit. So um it just he doesn't miss in a single song on that album. Even it's said that Drips is the weakest song on his album, but it's a weak song that if you put it on any other piece of work, it would be. It's a weak song in an album full of like absolute masterpieces. So if you put Drips on any other album, it would be like the banger of that album. And I've got memories of like so my roommates and I were having like a party in college, and the party was over. We were just chilling out, the three of us. Everyone left, and I had to sit through um, so much Punjabi music and all that crap. So they finally gave me control for a bit, and I mean, I guess even they were tired of just playing music like that kind of got I don't know. So I play drips, and initially it's Obi Trice that's rapping, and like, so when you listen to Eminem from the context of like his albums, it's just him, right? So, but when you've been listening to like lesser artists, like Punjabi crap, uh, and then one of the greatest rappers of all time comes on, like Obi comes on, okay, whatever, everyone's just like vibing to the beat and the chorus and all. Then Eminem at his peak just starts spitting, right? And all three of us, we just got so excited. That was a lot of fun. And also, yeah, don't come at me for, I'm sorry, Punjabi music is good and all that. Yeah, whatever. Um, yeah, so that was really fun when I realized how, in an isolated situation, if you put him in to um, a pool with other artists, he would just blow everyone else out of the water with his just stage presence and power, like, which is with his stature. So that was really cool. Um, then, oh yeah, like, one of the times Reddit has helped me is when they, I mean, it's not always bad. Sure, sometimes they point out flaws in your favorite albums or artists that you didn't realize before, so you start hating it now. But I've discovered a lot of his songs from there that I would have never discovered before. The first one being, I used to kind of overlook how perfect the transition was from the Kiss skit to Soldier, and then to Say Goodbye Hollywood. These songs actually don't conceptually tie up with each other a lot, but somehow they fit together perfectly. Like, the Kiss is about M catching his girl at the time, cheating on him with a bodyguard. The Soldier is literally about him. Uh, t- he discusses how he has taken on the image of a gangster kind of rapper. Like, if you look at pictures of M in the early 2000s, I mean, yeah, he used to have like a do rag around his head, and wear baggy clothing and look like he was in a gang. So he discusses how that just kind of happened because I wanted to portray the image that I was like selling in my that I was you know using in my songs, where in he was talking about like going around shooting people and all that, right? And so he said, I just want to do picturize, I mean, bring that to life. And of course, he got into trouble with authorities for possession of guns, and that kind of just added fuel to the fire. And yeah, also there's that favorite part of mine where he's just like, don't even try to emulate me because you'll just never be as great as me. And um, whether you like it or not, you have to respect me because I have risen to that sort of position in the rap world right now. So fuck. Then there's Say Goodbye to Hollywood, where I think he just gets tired of being in the public eye, and he is already admitting that he's brought too much of his personal life into public, like his relationship with his wife and all that stuff that people didn't need to know. Now everyone does. It made for great music. It made him famous, but now it's like, at what cost, you know? So I yeah, that's what Reddit gave me, and Reddit also gave me one big thing which I wanted to touch on before I close this video. They have a song of the week kind of thing there, where they just go through, and that's the best fucking thing. You should definitely visit Eminem's Reddit for their song of the week thing, because they tend to pick out songs you would have never ever heard of, like some random mixtape he would have released, um, or whatever. I discovered a lot of great music of his from back then, when I used to use that subreddit. And so yeah, anyway, they once put up a song from this album called The Devil's Night. Like, what the hell is The Devil's Night? And turns out it's his rap group's first album. And I still wasn't intrigued. I was like, well, why would I care about his rap group? Because I don't want to listen to anyone else but him. And I hadn't like, see, the thing is, didn't want a situation like this happening, of people acting the way I did to D12's music. That's why he used to keep featuring them on his albums. Before their first album came out, M had D12 featuring on MMLP in Under the Influence. But either I didn't reach that part of the album yet, or I did and I just didn't even notice that it said featuring D12. But anyway, people were talking really fondly of that album, so I decided to give it a shot because it I used to listen to it. I used to travel home from college a lot, and it was a 10-hour bus ride. So that gave me a lot of time to listen to music I wouldn't normally check out. So um, that album kind of just has a way of getting you sucked into D12. Like it expresses all six of their personalities. I mean, technically five, because you already know M, and M really consciously takes a back seat in D12's albums. So it kind of introduces you to the other five. Like, okay, you can tell that, okay, Bizarre, his whole thing is just right. His whole persona is just writing like lyrics that make you laugh and also gross you out. Like he's bizarre, okay, in the way that he is. So, okay, you start liking that he's funny. And okay, I honestly wouldn't say that I know the personalities of the other, like of Denon, or Denon, who by the way is M's current hype man when they play on stage, or Proof. Okay, Proof also, I think Eminem fans would know him as well, because he's Eminem's best friend. And they're on together. They were, if you look at his old videos, they were on together on stage all the time, and he's mentioned him frequently in his music even now. And yeah, when you do listen to D12 stuff, it's Proof that steals the show every single time. Sometimes even when M is on the track, it's Proof that dominates even him. Um, but yeah, Swifty and Kanaiva, I wouldn't say that I know these three guys. Swifty, Kanaiva, con artists, I don't really know who they are as people, but you really get absorbed into their friendship, because you can tell these guys are close, and they've all known each other for many years, including Eminem. Like, the story behind D12 getting formed is that they were M and these guys were all friends together back in 8 Mile. I don't mean the movie, I mean the place where they used to live, which is the outskirts of Detroit. And they made a promise that if any one of us blows up, like, then we'll bring the rest of us up with us. So, of course, it's really sweet of M to not just forget about, like, after getting famous, to not just leave everyone behind. But honestly, it also was a business move, because rap at the time, especially like the bigger you were or whatever, I don't know what it was like for smaller artists, but every time you put out an album back then, you were going to war, because this was at a time when the whole feud between Park and Biggie that ended up in both of them dead was still fresh. And well, it honestly doesn't seem like they learned anything from it, because I guess it was around 94, 95 when Park died. And then 2004, M is doing the same thing with Eminem and 50 Cent are doing the same thing, fighting with Ja Rule and Benzino, which could have ended up in one of the four of them died, or maybe even all of them. But anyway, back then, every time you put out an album, you were going to war, okay? Because you knew that other rappers are going to listen to it. They're going to try to find ways to make fun of something you did in that album, and, cause a feud with you and basically use you for attention, especially if you were coming up and you had to make the choice whether you wanted to give them that attention or not. So when Eminem was in a situation like that, where of course he has done a lot of controversial things, and just by virtue of being white in a black dominated industry, he had a lot of enemies. So to have those five like burly guys in D12 backing him up, and not just physically, but of course with their tough guy kind of rap, it was great protection for him. So not only did he help his friends and keep his promise, which was sweet, he also got himself protection in the industry. So anyway, I still do listen to their stuff a lot. Like don't, I definitely do want to listen to Outkast as a rap group, and I did listen to NWA. I probably should again. I kind of just, they were too old for me, like I don't like those 80s beats. But yeah, there, so D12 is like the only rap group that I really love. Like I was in my college media body, and we were kind of famous for making good study playlists, and I was in charge of that at the time. So I kind of uh, used my authority to make the very second song of our playlist, Get Up by D12. That was awesome, man. Like we before me, they used to put up only artsy songs. I don't think they do that anymore. But yeah, so we've gone from playing like what do you call that, ambient indie music, to like fucking D12, where like the first 30 seconds are M just rapping without taking a single breath. I was like, yeah, man. So anyway, I really did like his rap group a lot too. Um, I guess that's as much as I want to say. If I go any further, I'll be rambling at this. Well, not really. I mean, I still didn't talk about Relapse. Guys, what an album, man. Like, people just keep. I guess because M himself trashes that album, people just want to hate on it. But if I think about it, that is our sequel to the Slim Shady LP. Like, um, because when he put out Kamikaze, he's like, Slim Shady's back. But no, that's not Slim Shady. Slim Shady is not the persona you take on when you diss people. It's your obscene side, it's your side that just uh, it grosses people out when we listen to your music, but it's so good that we basically can't stop listening to it. So that was when uh, when M made Relapse, he took on the original form of Slim Shady again, and that whole album has him telling stories that scare the shit out of you. Like he's kidnapping Lindsay Lohan, and I don't even know what was going through his mind when he made those songs. Um, but I actually really appreciated it. Of course, there's 3 a.m., which is a horrorcore masterpiece, and to know that M was actually facing writer's block, and of course we know those dark years he had gone through before that, where he lost his best friend and attempted suicide, and uh, gained so much weight and then lost it all and became this fit guy. And finally he was only 1 year sober between 2005 to 2008. He, in that break of his, he continued abusing drugs, and he finally came out of it in 2009 when Relapse came out, and he just looked healthier. You compare 2009 M with 2004 M, 2009 M looks younger. So sure, the accent's annoying kind of that he uses in Relapse, and his voice, I don't know why he had to use a higher pitched voice throughout the album. Like 3 a.m., I know he's trying to play a psychopath, so yeah, I get why he used that kind of voice. But you put that aside, it's just really fun to listen to, and to hear him just explode. Like all these ideas that were not coming to him before. I guess he just struck gold in terms of ideas coming out and just couldn't stop. It was fun to listen to. Again, I listened to it in one of those endless bus rides. I found there was supposed to be a sequel to Relapse 2, which he didn't release, but instead released as a bonus edition. So yeah, I kind of just think of it fondly because of those days. I don't know. It was just, I don't know when I'll ever get to sit in a bus going through like the Western Ghats in the daytime again. Like that's I used to board a bus that left Manipal in the afternoon, and I'd reach home 10 hours later. So previously, I mean, normally I take the night bus where you can't see the places you're passing through, but like since it was daytime, I could see all these forests and small town villages in the middle of fucking nowhere, where I don't know why people wanted to establish life there, but they did. And it just looked so beautiful, in the sunlight and the greenery, and you're in a pretty cool bus. I think that's why I've got so much nostalgia to Relapse. I don't even know if I like it that much or not. I've got to revisit it. Um, of course, we all know that. So Recovery is something, I guess, as an album everyone looks at fondly, because I guess we were all pretty happy back then. We were just teenagers without a worry in the world, just in our early teens. So like, I guess that's why we all like it, because of the fondness. I haven't just I just don't know. It's like he says in MMLP2 that some people found Recovery to be too poppy. Like I know it sold like a shitload, and it's when he really took the throne again. But I'm gonna give it another listen before I comment on it. But MMLP2, I really like how M is one of those artists who isn't afraid of revisiting his classics. Like he doesn't like to just let his best stuff lie in the past, and he takes attempts to recreate that magic again. And with MMLP2, I think he actually did it. I honestly enjoy listening to Bad Guy, which is the Stand sequel, more than Stand itself, because it's kind of heavier for me. And I don't know, I just really like how he was able to recapture that spark. Um, it's not along the lines of the original, but it does tell its own story in its own like great way. So yeah, at this point, I really think I should stop rambling. So I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.